Protect your peace. How to set boundaries without guilt, mindset, and motivation for success. We often assume that family and longtime connections guarantee love and support, especially as life progresses. But sometimes the passage of time reveals a starkly different reality. What happens when the people you sacrifice for seem ungrateful? When negativity constantly drains your spirit? When manipulation replaces genuine care? There comes a season in life where protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's essential. Today, we'll explore the difficult but necessary truth about recognizing and distancing yourself from relationships that harm your well-being, even if it means letting go of those closest to you. Let me tell you something profound. Life has an uncanny way of eventually revealing people's true colors. And often it's in old age, when the masks we all wear tend to fall off completely, that the picture becomes crystal clear. You see, when you're young, full of vibrant strength, constantly running here and there, selflessly doing things for others, they often smile at you. They praise you readily. They act as if they deeply cherish you. But the very moment you begin to slow down, the moment your needs might outweigh theirs, the moment you need them more than they seem to need you, that's precisely when you discover who truly loves you and who was merely there for the benefits your strength and energy provided. There inevitably comes a time in life when you simply can no longer afford to be surrounded by the ungrateful and the entitled, even if they happen to share your bloodline. Ungrateful people are fundamentally never satisfied, no matter what you have done for them, no matter how much you have given. It is somehow never enough in their eyes. You raised them. You sacrificed countless things for them. You gave them your best years, your prime energy. And yet they often act as if it was nothing significant. They might walk into your house, take what they want, and leave without so much as a simple thank you. They tend to call only when they need something. They might speak to you with impatience, almost as if your very presence is an inconvenience to their busy lives. My friend, do not be fooled by relation alone. This behavior is not love. True love is not just about being connected by blood. Genuine love is consistently shown in honor, in respect, and in heartfelt gratitude. Some of you listening have poured absolutely everything into your children, your family, your friends. You put their dreams and aspirations above your own. You gave generously even when you had very little yourself. You forgave repeatedly, even when they clearly didn't deserve it. And now, perhaps in your later years, you look around and painfully see that the very people you sacrifice the most for seem to have no time for you. You call, and they don't pick up. You ask for help, and they act as if you're imposing, as if you're a tremendous burden. When you were strong and capable, they leaned heavily on you. Now that you are perhaps tired or less able, they simply walk away. But hear me clearly today. Your inherent worth is absolutely not determined by their recognition or lack thereof. Your intrinsic value is not based on whether they appreciate your past sacrifices or not. Ungrateful people possess a dangerous self-serving habit. They conveniently rewrite history. They conveniently forget the countless nights you stayed up worrying, the times you worked double shifts to provide, the countless moments you put their needs far above your own. They seem to possess a highly selective memory. They vividly remember what you didn't do, but conveniently forget everything you did. And if you're not incredibly careful, You will spend your precious later years desperately trying to prove your worth to people who have already firmly made up their minds to ignore it. Let me strongly warn you, entitled people will utterly drain you. They will take your kindness for granted and then demand even more. They will skillfully use your love against you, manipulating your emotions. They will make you feel perpetually guilty for not giving them exactly what they want, even when they themselves have given you absolutely nothing in return. You do not owe anyone your peace of mind. You certainly don't owe anyone a lengthy explanation for why you choose to protect your heart, especially in this season of your life. If someone cannot genuinely appreciate your presence, then perhaps it's time you let them experience your absence. There comes a point when you must stop begging people to see your value. If they didn't appreciate you when you were giving your all, don't expect them to suddenly respect you when you have less to offer. Some of you are sitting in deep grief over relationships that God Himself has likely been trying to gently remove from your life for some time. You're crying over people who demonstrably don't care that you're hurting. You're desperately holding on to family members who have already emotionally let go of you in their hearts. It's time to wake up. It's time to stop expecting genuine love from people who only see you as useful when they need something from you. This is the season of your life where you must guard your inner peace like a precious, irreplaceable treasure. Do not waste your limited energy on those who harbor no gratitude in their hearts. Do not chase after people who are perfectly comfortable ignoring you. Love should never have to be begged for respect, should never have to be demanded. And listen closely to me. Family is so much more than just shared DNA. True family is about who genuinely loves you, who consistently shows up for you, who honors you, who respects you. Blood makes you related, but loyalty, love, and mutual respect make you family. When you start courageously removing the ungrateful and the entitled from your life, something truly amazing begins to happen. You start to feel lighter. You begin to find simple joy in the small things again. You come to realize that your peace is worth far more than forced proximity to toxic people. You see, sometimes we desperately think we need certain people in our lives, but in reality, what we truly need is the freedom from the heavy, draining weight they consistently bring into our existence. Let go of the ungrateful. Let go of the ones who consistently make you feel invisible or insignificant. Let go of the ones who constantly make you doubt your own worth. You have given enough. You have sacrificed enough. Now it is finally time to surround yourself with those who truly see you, genuinely appreciate you, and authentically love you. Not just for what you can do for them, but simply for who you are. There comes a point in life, often later rather than sooner, when you absolutely must protect your peace as if it is your most precious, invaluable possession. You simply don't have the boundless energy anymore to fight battles that don't truly belong to you. You don't have the luxury of time to entertain pervasive negativity that relentlessly drains your spirit. And yet, there are people who seem to thrive on it. People who seemingly wake up every single day actively searching for something to be angry about, something new to complain about, or someone else to blame for their own misfortunes. These individuals carry a metaphorical storm with them everywhere they go. And if you allow them close enough, they will inevitably drag you right into the heart of their tempest. Negativity is incredibly contagious. It spreads like a virulent disease. You could be having a perfectly good day, feeling genuinely grateful, enjoying a quiet moment of peace, and then just one single conversation with a chronically bitter or negative person can steal all of that precious tranquility from you. They will likely remind you of every wrong thing that ever happened. They will dredge up the painful past, endlessly rehearse old hurts, and effectively poison the present moment with grievances that should have been left behind long ago. And if you're not extremely careful, you'll suddenly find yourself carrying heavy burdens, their burdens, that were never yours to bear in the first place. You see, there are some people who actively refuse to heal because their entire identity has become wrapped up in their pain. They have been angry for so long that they literally don't know how to live without it. Their bitterness has become their strange comfort, their go-to excuse, their constant justification for why they can't seem to move forward in life. And when they see you genuinely trying to live in peace, trying to find joy, they often don't like it one bit. They instinctively want to pull you back into their misery. Perhaps because if they can't be happy, they subconsciously don't want you to be either. Be incredibly careful who you give your ear to. Be extremely mindful of who you allow to speak into your life. Some people don't genuinely offer helpful advice. They offer subtle poison disguised as concern. They won't typically help you find a solution. They will just constantly remind you of the problem over and over again. You simply do not have time for that kind of draining interaction in this stage of your life. You need people around you who lift you up, not people who consistently pull you down. You need people who speak life, hope, and encouragement into you, not people who systematically drain the very life out of you. Negativity will warp your perception. It will make you see enemies where there are none. It will make you suspicious of people who genuinely mean you well. It will cause you to hold on tightly to offenses that should have been forgiven long ago, clinging to wounds that should have already healed. It will systematically rob you of joy. It will steal your restful sleep. It will keep you up at night, endlessly replaying things in your mind that should have been released and let go of a long, long time ago. There are individuals who have been carrying bitterness for decades. They are still intensely angry about something that happened years, even decades ago. They are still blaming someone else for a life they themselves chose to remain stuck in. They often don't truly want to change, they just want to complain. And if you're not vigilant, they will inadvertently make you the same way through constant exposure. You absolutely must decide that your personal peace is far more important than their potential disapproval. You must consciously choose to walk away from conversations that serve no constructive purpose, but to stir up division and keep old wounds perpetually open. You must learn to diligently protect your mind from the insidious poison of negativity. Because at this point in your life, you simply don't have time to waste on anger that leads nowhere, on conflicts that serve no positive purpose, or on bitterness that only ends up hurting you in the end. Some of you have people in your life who only seem to call when they want to gossip, when they want to talk endlessly about what's wrong with the world or with others, when they want to rehearse past pains and grievances. And perhaps you've tolerated it for so long that you don't even realize how incredibly heavy it has made you feel. You unknowingly carry their burdens, their offenses, their deep-seated bitterness, and then you wonder why you feel so perpetually drained. It's often because their relentless negativity has been sitting heavily in your spirit, like a suffocating weight that was never meant for you to carry, let them go. Let the bitterness go. Let the resentment go. You don't have to be a part of every single fight. You don't have to respond to every single insult. You don't have to constantly defend yourself to people who seem committed to misunderstanding you anyway. Protect your peace. Protect your joy. Purposefully surround yourself with people who genuinely encourage you, who sincerely pray for you, who consistently remind you of the inherent goodness of life, who speak words of faith and hope, not just anger and frustration. This is your time to live free, to wake up each morning with a heart that feels light, to truly enjoy the precious moments God has given you. Do not waste another second allowing someone else's pervasive bitterness to dictate your happiness. Your peace is far too rare and valuable to let anyone steal it from you. There is a particular kind of person you must be especially careful of, particularly in this precious season of your life. They often come approach you with a warm smile, but their heart is secretly set on what they can possibly take from you. They know exactly the right words to say to charm you, but their underlying intentions are rarely pure. These are the manipulators, the self-seeking individuals, the ones who primarily see you not as a person to genuinely love and cherish, but merely as a resource to be used for their own benefit. They come in many forms. Some might be friends. Some could even be family members. Some may even be people you have helped the most generously in the past. And yet, despite your history of kindness, they often have no hesitation whatsoever in taking advantage of it. Manipulation is often a subtle, insidious thing. It doesn't always come in the form of obvious, overt demands. No, the best manipulators are masters of making you feel guilty for simply setting healthy boundaries. They skillfully make you question whether it's somehow wrong for you to say no. They might constantly remind you of everything you've done for them in the past. Not because they are genuinely grateful, but because they strategically want to keep the door open for getting more from you in the future. They will expertly use various emotional tactics: tears, anger, strategic silence, guilt trips, to control your behavior and decisions. They know exactly how to make you feel responsible for their happiness, for their struggles, for their often poor decisions. But hear me clearly and internalize this truth. You are absolutely not responsible for carrying another person's selfishness on your already burdened back. Some of you have spent years being consistently drained by people who only seem to call when they need something specific. They rarely, if ever, check on you just to see how you are. They never ask how you're doing. They never just sit and simply enjoy your presence, your company. No, the only time you typically hear from them is when they need money, when they need a favor, when they need you to fix yet another mess they've created. And because you likely have a good, kind heart, because you have perhaps always been there for them in the past, they've come to expect you to say yes every single time without question. But let me ask you something important. Who is truly there for you? Who calls you just to say, I love you, I appreciate you, or I'm here for you if you need anything? If you genuinely can't think of many people who fit that description, then maybe it's finally time to honestly ask yourself if you've inadvertently surrounded yourself primarily with givers or predominantly with just takers. People who habitually manipulate you are fundamentally not interested in your well-being. They are only truly interested in what they can personally gain from you. They will convincingly act like they love you. They will skillfully pretend to care. But the very moment you stop giving, the moment you stop fulfilling their endless needs, you will inevitably see their true colors emerge. And sometimes that revelation, though painful, is the very best thing that can happen, because it finally sets you free. It clearly shows you who was genuinely for you and who was only ever for what they could get out of you. This is the time in your life when you absolutely must stop pouring your precious resources, your time, energy, and emotions into people who never ever pour back into you. Stop answering calls that consistently leave you feeling empty and drained. Stop rushing to rescue people who wouldn't take a single step out of their way to help you. If the roles were reversed, you simply cannot keep setting yourself on fire just to keep others warm. You cannot keep giving from a place that is already depleted and exhausted. And here's the hard truth: when you start courageously saying no, some people will get angry. When you stop allowing yourself to be constantly used, some people will call you selfish. But listen very carefully to me. You are absolutely not selfish for protecting your hard-won peace. You are not wrong for resolutely refusing to be manipulated. You are not cruel for simply expecting to be treated with the same basic kindness and respect that you so freely give to others. The only people who typically get offended when you set healthy boundaries are the very ones who were previously benefiting from you having none. Be incredibly careful of those who only appear when they need something. Be particularly mindful of those who only seem to love you when you are useful to them. Genuine love should not be conditional. Family bonds should not be merely transactional. If someone cannot value you when you have nothing tangible to give, then they never truly valued you at all. This is the time to consciously surround yourself with people who love you, not just what you can provide for them. People who check on you simply because they genuinely care, not because they need another favor. People who consistently make you feel appreciated and valued, not perpetually obligated and drained. You absolutely deserve that. You deserve peace. You deserve to genuinely enjoy the years ahead without being constantly weighed down by individuals who see your inherent kindness merely as something to exploit. Let them go. Let the ones who only take finally walk away. Let the ones who manipulate with guilt find someone else to control. Let the ones who are never truly for you be lovingly but firmly removed from your life. You're not losing them. In reality, they are losing you. There are some people, perhaps even within your own circle, who never seem to be genuinely happy for you. No matter what you accomplish, no matter how blessed you clearly are, no matter how much joy you try to share with them, they always somehow find a way to diminish it, to downplay it, to subtly poison it. They are often the ones who simply cannot celebrate your victories because, sadly, your success serves as a painful reminder of their own perceived failures or lack of progress. They see you smiling, thriving, and instead of feeling genuinely glad for you, they feel a pang of resentment, perhaps even bitterness. These are the envious, the jealous, the ones who would subconsciously rather see you struggle than have to watch you shine brightly. Jealousy is a dangerous, corrosive emotion. It doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it cleverly hides behind fake smiles and hollow, empty congratulations. Sometimes it skillfully disguises itself as subtle criticism, small, passive-aggressive comments meant to make you doubt yourself, little verbal jabs aimed at undermining your confidence. You might excitedly mention something good happening in your life, and they respond with a lukewarm, must be nice, or a slightly sarcastic, well, some people have all the luck. It may seem like nothing significant at first, but over time you begin to realize they don't truly, genuinely want to see you win. And here's the difficult thing about jealous people. They likely were never truly for you in the first place, even if you thought they were. They may have been there when you were struggling. They may have seemingly stood beside you when you had nothing much to offer. But the very moment you start rising, the moment things genuinely start going well for you, their attitude often subtly or sometimes dramatically shifts. They might distance themselves emotionally. They might stop calling as much. Or worse, they might actively start trying to undermine you, to discourage your efforts, or even try to make you feel guilty for the very blessings God has graciously placed in your life. Some of you know exactly who I'm talking about. You've felt that shift. You've seen the subtle signs. You've shared your good news with someone, excitedly expecting genuine enthusiasm, only to be met with cold indifference or a forced, unconvincing smile. You've worked incredibly hard to achieve something significant, and instead of receiving encouragement, you've gotten awkward silence or backhanded compliments. It hurts deeply, doesn't it, to realize that someone you genuinely cared about, someone you thought was solidly in your corner, is actually perhaps subconsciously rooting against you. But you absolutely must understand this crucial truth. Your blessings are not up for debate. You do not need to shrink yourself down just to make someone else feel comfortable. You do not need to downplay your hard-earned success simply to protect someone else's fragile insecurities. What God has destined for you is for you. No one's jealousy can ever take it away. No one's resentment can ever undo it. You absolutely do not need their approval to be blessed. Jealousy can make a person do things they never thought they were capable of. It can sadly turn friends into enemies. It can even make family members act like complete strangers. It can cause people to gossip maliciously, to spread lies, to manipulate situations, all because they simply cannot stand to see you walk in divine favor. And the truly sad part is they could have been blessed too. They could have been walking in their own joy too. But instead of focusing on what God has uniquely planned for them, they are too busy being bitter and resentful about what He has graciously given you. So what should you do when faced with such envy? You wisely distance yourself. You stop expecting genuine support from people who consistently refuse to give it. You stop wasting your breath explaining yourself to people who seem committed to misunderstanding or misinterpreting you anyway. You stop looking for approval from those who secretly hope to see you fail. You lovingly but firmly let them go. Because the simple truth is, anyone who cannot genuinely celebrate with you is not truly for you. And please don't let them make you feel guilty for your success. Some of you have been made to feel bad about achieving good things. You've been told you've changed or accused of acting differently, perhaps too good for them now. But let me tell you something important. Growth will always look like betrayal to those who refuse to grow with you. It is absolutely not your responsibility to stay small, just so someone else doesn't feel insecure. It is not your duty to remain perpetually in struggle, just so someone else doesn't feel left behind. If they truly loved you, they would be clapping the loudest for you, not questioning your motives or your character. Be especially careful of the ones who only seemed to like you when you were struggling. Be cautious of the ones who only supported you as long as you stayed beneath them in some way. Be mindful of the ones who consistently act distant or critical every single time you step into a new blessing. That is not genuine love. That is not true friendship. That is envy. And you simply don't need that toxic energy in your life. Let them watch from a distance. Let them talk amongst themselves. Let them be uncomfortable in their own discontent. But do not, under any circumstances, let them stop you or dim your light. You have worked too hard, prayed too long, and fought too many battles to let someone else's insecurity rob you of your well-deserved joy. Keep moving forward. Keep walking in favor. Keep being everything God called you to be. Because the right people, the truly supportive ones, will wholeheartedly celebrate with you. And the wrong ones, the envious ones, will eventually remove themselves from your path. There are certain people in your life who seem to carry a perpetual storm cloud with them wherever they go. It seems like every single time they come around, there's inevitably a problem. There's always drama unfolding. There's always something they desperately need you to fix. Something they urgently need you to rescue them from. And no matter how many times you try to help them, no matter how many times you offer sound advice, they never truly seem to change or learn from their experiences. These are the chaotic individuals, the perpetually unstable ones, the people who seem to almost thrive on constant crisis and confusion. And if you're not incredibly careful, their relentless storm will inevitably become your storm. Often these individuals don't genuinely want to learn from their mistakes. They would much rather live in a state of constant turmoil, bouncing erratically from one bad decision to the next, always desperately looking for someone else to come along and clean up their inevitable mess. And for years, perhaps even decades, you may have unknowingly played that designated role. You've been the one consistently answering the late-night frantic phone calls. You've been the one bailing them out of difficult situations, financially or otherwise. You've been the one repeatedly giving them money they likely won't repay. You've been the one patiently trying to talk sense into them, offering guidance they rarely heed. And yet, despite all your efforts, absolutely nothing fundamentally changes. And here's the hard, often painful truths. Some people don't actually want solutions. They merely crave sympathy. They don't truly want to get better. They simply want attention. They don't genuinely desire freedom from their struggles because, tragically, their entire identity has become intricately wrapped up in their victimhood. In their ongoing struggle, they would rather perpetually play the victim than take personal responsibility for their lives and choices. And as long as you keep trying to save them from themselves, they will inevitably keep pulling you down with them into their chaos. At some point, for your own sanity and well-being, you absolutely have to recognize that it is not your job to fix them. It is not your job to constantly carry their heavy burdens. It is not your responsibility to keep putting out the fires they keep carelessly setting. Because while you're spending all your precious energy trying desperately to keep them afloat, your own inner peace is steadily slipping away. You're losing valuable sleep. You're stressing intensely over problems that aren't even yours to solve. You're being systematically drained by someone who likely has no real intention of ever truly changing. and that heavy burden is simply not yours to bear. You can certainly love people from a distance. You can absolutely pray for them fervently, but you ultimately cannot make them change. You cannot make them choose peace over chaos. You cannot force them to break free from their self-inflicted cycles of dysfunction. That desire for change, that commitment to growth is something they absolutely have to want for themselves. And until they genuinely do, often the only healthy thing you can do is to lovingly but firmly step back. Protect your own peace. Resolutely refuse to be dragged repeatedly into their never-ending cycle of dysfunction. Allow them the space to finally learn the hard lessons they desperately need to learn on their own. And understand this, when you start strategically pulling away, they will likely try to make you feel incredibly guilty. They might accuse you of abandoning them. They might dramatically claim that you don't care. They will probably remind you of everything you've ever done for them in the past, attempting to guilt trip you into resuming your old enabling role once again. But you are absolutely not wrong for protecting yourself. You are not heartless for choosing peace for your own life. You're not a bad person for refusing to be constantly caught up in someone else's perpetual turmoil. Some of you have spent years, possibly a lifetime, sacrificing your own emotional and mental well-being for the sake of people who consistently refuse to take responsibility for their own lives. You've tragically allowed their storms to become your storms. You've let their constant stress, their poor choices, their endless drama systematically steal your precious joy. But there inevitably comes a time when you must definitively say, enough. There comes a time when you must courageously step away from the people who stubbornly refuse to grow. There comes a time when you must prioritize peace over chaos, wisdom over foolishness, and personal freedom over unhealthy obligation. Because your peace is truly priceless. There is absolutely nothing in this world more valuable than waking up in the morning without heavy stress weighing you down, without impending chaos knocking at your door, without the constant exhausting burden of other people's unresolved problems sitting squarely on your shoulders. You absolutely deserve that kind of peace. You deserve to genuinely enjoy your days without feeling perpetually obligated to fix someone else's life. You deserve to live without being constantly drained by people who refuse to change. And if achieving that peace means letting certain people go, then lovingly let them go. If it means learning to say no more often, then confidently say no. If it means intentionally creating healthy distance, then resolutely create that distance. Because your peace is absolutely worth protecting. Your joy is worth preserving. Your life is far too valuable to waste on people who refuse to take control of their own destiny. Let them go. Let them figure things out for themselves. Let them finally deal with the natural consequences of their own choices. And you choose to walk in peace. You move forward with lightness. You courageously live the beautiful life God has called you to live. Free, whole, and completely unburdened by the heavy weight of someone else's destructive storm. There are people whose words consistently act not as building blocks, but as wrecking balls in your life. They don't build you up. They systematically tear you down. They subtly plant seeds of doubt, making you constantly question your own abilities and worth. These are the negative voices, the chronic critics, the ones who seem to have made it their personal mission to constantly remind you of your flaws, your past mistakes, and your perceived shortcomings. And if you listen to them long enough, if you internalize their toxic messages, you'll inevitably start believing that you truly are not enough, that you are incapable, that you are somehow unworthy of the blessings you receive. Words possess immense power. The things people speak over you can profoundly shape the way you see yourself. Some of you have spent years carrying the heavy weight of hurtful words that were spoken to you in moments of anger, bitterness, or jealousy. Maybe it was a parent who dismissively told you that you would never amount to anything significant. Maybe it was a supposed friend who constantly doubted your dreams and aspirations. Maybe it was a family member who criticized nearly everything you did, no matter how hard you tried. And even though significant time may have passed, those negative words still somehow linger in the back of your mind. They still subtly affect the way you think about yourself, the way you move through the world, the way you see your own reflection in the mirror. But let me remind you of a crucial truth. The only words that truly ultimately matter are the ones God speaks over you. The only truth that holds eternal weight is the truth of who you are in His loving eyes. You are not a failure. You are not a mistake. You are not defined by what other people say about you, and you are certainly under no obligation whatsoever to sit and passively listen to relentless negativity from people who clearly do not recognize or appreciate your inherent worth. Some of you have tragically allowed certain critical voices to remain in your life for far too long. You have mistakenly let their limited opinions dictate your self-confidence. You have allowed their pervasive doubts to shape your important life decisions. You have permitted their constant criticism to keep you from stepping boldly into the glorious fullness of what God has uniquely planned for you. And it's high time to cut those voices off. It's time to stop granting precious access to people who only speak words of defeat and discouragement over your life. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your personal journey. Not everyone has earned the sacred right to speak into your life. And if their words consistently do nothing but drain you, discourage you, and make you feel less than the incredible person God created you to be, then you absolutely do not need to keep them around. Because what inevitably happens when you keep listening to the wrong voices? You start living in fear. You start doubting yourself constantly. You start hesitating on the very things you know deep down God has called you to do. How many incredible dreams have been tragically abandoned because someone carelessly said, "That's impossible"? How many divine callings have been sadly ignored because someone dismissively said, "You're not good enough"? How many abundant blessings have been tragically missed because someone whispered the insidious lie, "You don't deserve that"? You simply cannot allow negative voices to continue having power over your life. You cannot keep giving weight to words that are specifically meant to break your spirit. You must consciously, intentionally surround yourself with people who lift you up, who consistently remind you of your inherent strength, who genuinely encourage you to keep going, especially when things get tough. Because the right voices will speak life into you. They will remind you that you are capable, that you are chosen, that you are deeply loved. They will see the immense potential within you, even when you struggle to see it in yourself. And listen, cutting off negative voices does not mean you are holding a grudge. It does not mean you are bitter. It certainly does not mean you are perpetually angry. It simply means you value your own peace of mind enough to fiercely protect it. It means you respect yourself enough to diligently guard your mind from words that clearly do not serve your well-being or your purpose. It means you are consciously choosing to listen to God's unwavering truth instead of flawed human opinion. Some of you have been carrying hurtful words that were never meant for you in the first place. It's time to finally release them. It's time to completely let go of what they said about you. It's time to stop endlessly replaying those old, painful conversations in your mind. Because you are not what they call you. You are not their insults. You are not their doubts. You are certainly not the negative labels they tried to put on you. You are who God says you are. And if aligning with that truth means walking away from certain relationships, then courageously walk away. If it means establishing firm boundaries, then confidently create them. If it means strategically distancing yourself from people who consistently refuse to speak life into you, then do it without any hesitation or apology, because your spirit is far too valuable to be continually poisoned by negativity. Your divine purpose is far too great to be diminished by small-minded, critical words. You have a beautiful life to live, a unique purpose to fulfill, a glorious destiny to step into. Do not let their words hold you back any longer. Do not let their words dictate your future. Do not let their negativity steal one more ounce of your precious joy. Purposefully tune them out. Confidently turn away. And attentively listen only to the voice of truth. Because when you do, you will find unparalleled freedom. You will discover profound strength. And you will finally walk in the glorious fullness of everything God has meticulously planned just for you. Conclusion: life is simply too short, and your later years too precious to be constantly weighed down by the wrong people. As you grow older, prioritizing your peace, your joy, and your overall well-being isn't just an option. It becomes a necessity. There is absolutely no shame in protecting your heart, guarding your mind, and choosing to distance yourself from those individuals, whether related by blood or not, who consistently drain your spirit. Remember, not everyone is meant to walk with you through every season of life. Sometimes releasing relationships characterized by ingratitude, negativity, manipulation, jealousy, or constant chaos is the only way to step into the fullness of peace and purpose God intends for you. Who in your life truly builds you up versus tears you down? Take a moment this week to identify one relationship that consistently drains you, and consider one small step you can take to protect your peace. Surround yourself with love, wisdom, and encouragement. Choose freedom over obligation, peace over dysfunction, and walk confidently in the purpose God has set before you, unburdened by negativity. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel to watch our next videos.